Listen to the birds are humming and the buzzing of the bees. Yeah, they're out there making honey in the trees. Can you hear the water calling? Makes you wanna jump in. Crack open a cold one, take a sip. That sounds like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Sounds like summertime and the days are golden. Talking about living life forever young. Soaking up the sunshine, floating on the waves from an FM dial. Sounds like summertime. Side, fire popping in the sky, yeah. Turn it up on them all night, good vibes, yeah. Sounds like summertime and the days are golden. Talking about living life forever young. Soaking up the sunshine, floating on the waves from an FM dial. Sounds like summertime. Sounds like it sounds like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Sounds like summertime and the days are golden. Talking about living life forever young. Sounds like summertime and the days are golden. Talking about living life forever young. Oh, soaking up the sunshine, floating on the waves from an FM dial. Sounds like summertime.
Choose your adventure, cause eventually you're ashes. So I live for my passions, ain't no life passing me by, I'm all about action. We can talk about it later when we feel the effects, cause they were lasting. Putting in the work now, so later we can kick back. I ain't got no 401k, just a click track. Making something out of nothing, and that's something gives back. Residual energy, call that the feedback. Loop it up and make a new arrangement, then bump that to infinity and back to the present, where we put it on wax so we can deliver the message to the people tuning in on the earbuds. Or if they hear it on the speakers in the big club. These days it's rare to hear something unique. Copycats copying copycats and sounding weak. I'm here to leave an impression, cause it seems the rap scene is in a depression. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Everything we do leaves a ripple. It's really that simple. Smooth as glass, perfect reflection, placid. Had to shake it up, change the perception. Laughing instead of crying and complaining, control the emotions. Even when it's raining, the grass is growing, and I'm knowing that it takes hardship to build character. That's why I'm breathing it in, don't need an air filter. Building up resistance, immune to the garbage. Sticking to my heart, that's the life of an artist. Hardest thing I've done is stay true to it. A lot of cats fall off, don't follow through with it. I try to not get lost when I'm looking for myself. The moral compass guides us to find the true north. Stick to the path, I stay on course. Of course I lost my way a couple times to find my voice. Now that I found it, I'ma use it, make some noise. Better yet, some music so our souls can rejoice.
All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be checking this out, wherever you may be listening to the show, either live, encore, taping over on my YouTube channel. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Marc live here on the Intuitive Prospector page. I am the host, the editor, the guest, the prospector, curious seeking, always wondering about life, death, afterlife. Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying this summer. The first song was Sounds Like Summer by Sleeping Lion. And of course, the second song was Spends Quality by Ripple Effect. I always call them out because they're anytime I use music with my shows, my podcast, it's always copyright free, trademark free, and these are artists that are just trying to make their way in the world, and so I always, if you like the song, go check them out. You can find them on different locations: Spotify, iTunes. I have a sound collection through approved sound collection that I have a library of stuff that I like. So I hope it sounds like summer for you. I hope you're enjoying your summer vacations and that you're traveling and having a really great job. Let me just check over, make sure that we're broadcasting okay. It looks like we are. Good morning to my administrators. Good morning to my team that helps me keep the community uplifting and inspired and motivated, encouraging. There's just so many, especially in today's social media, there's just so much trolls and so much negativity. We try to, hold the container and space for positivity. And so this morning, I want to share with you a couple of tidbits. I wasn't on last week because I was actually up in nature, off grid, not connected, over in the Olympic rainforest here, which is about an hour and a half away from my studio here in West Seattle. It's called the Hoh Rainforest, the Olympic Rainforest. It's a beautiful location. And I was just out with nature and connecting with different perspectives and amazing people and plant medicines and really working on the spiritual journey. And so this morning, what I wanted to talk about is, the association with the purge, the spiritual waking. There's and I'll share the picture here when we do a meditation, if you want to check it out. But it's kind of an illustrated guide and a visual guide and a verbal guide to a spiritual awakening. I always remind people that we have three states of consciousness at one given time. Right now, if you're watching the show, we're in a state of awakened conscious. We're awakened. We're experiencing the world, the beauty and the pain, the beauty and the bullshit of what's going on in the world. That's the awakening state. And then each and every one of you, unless you're immune to any kind of sleep, we move into a sleep state. And through that sleep state, we can then go even further deeper into a dream state. And then we wake up and we do it all over again. And so the three states of consciousness: awakening, sleep, and dreaming, and then we repeat until death, right? And so a lot of times when we're working in those stages of consciousness, the spiritual awakening leads at some point, and I've been on this journey for many, many years now, and it all started years and years ago with severe loss and grief and trauma and tragedy, and a rewiring of my brain, a rewiring of my pineal gland, and to understand what is life and what is death and what is life after death. As a professional certified psychic, as a professional accredited medium, doing the work, understanding the concepts, the knowledge, the wisdom that's passed on down to me that I can pass on to others, my students, people that I consult with. And there is this, this stage of suffering that we go through. And then we also have time through the suffering to reflect, to grow. And then there's a purge, and the purge can come in many different ways. The purge can come in the form of tears. The purge can come through your ears popping. The purge can come through yawning. Purge can come through anything below, front and back. And so when you purge, that's the body's way and the spirit's way, and whatever your belief system is. And maybe you don't have a belief system. Maybe you're atheist and you just don't have any belief. That's okay. Yeah, I guess one day we'll find out. Or you're agnostic and you want proof of that. I at times I'm very agnostic. I always want proof of something. But at the same time, that's when you start to awaken, is through that purging effect. And you see yourself differently. You see the world around you differently. I've been working now for some time with plant medicine, especially after the last 2.5 years, 4 surgeries, almost 75 pounds of weight loss, career change, retirement, full transformation. And, that's when you really start to awakening to something bigger and better and more beautiful than yourself. And like I said, there's a lot of beauty out in the world, and there's a lot of bullshit out in the world. And one of the things you can do is just turn off that TV. Kendrick Lamar, who I love, one of the best rappers right now of the time, talks about turn the TV off, turn the TV off, turn the TV off, turn it off, and get out into nature. Because the bullshit you see is through the structure of media, through social media, and the beauty is when you connect to nature, and the humbling and the healing that can take place in connection to nature. And that's what I was able to do last week. And so I'm very rested, lots of purging, even including up until today. But at the same time, I want to talk about that spiritual awakening that you may be having. You may be experiencing things that you don't understand or can't comprehend or don't fit into your narrative or your religious doctrine or how you were raised. I know that I went through all of that. And it's not an easy path. It's, what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the butterfly calls a whole new beginning. And I think I've done a lot of that, done a lot of the work. And I'm going to share some things with you this morning. But as we get into today's show, again, I was purging, hiccuping, burping, all that. I wasn't on last week, so there was an encore show that we did. There is a new YouTube show coming out. If you want to subscribe to either here through my social media, or you can go to marclainhart.com right here to get on my YouTube channel. We're heading for 42,000 prospectors in search of their own diamond, in search of their own gold, in search of their own meaning of life. So thank you for the follows. Thank you for the subscription. To my subscribers, my Diamonds Hub subscribers, remember, next Friday is Diamonds Day, the first Friday of every month. If you're a subscriber, either through my Patreon or through my Diamonds Hub here on the social media construct, then those are the opportunity to have free readings and guidance and messages and downloads and healing and meditations with me. And through the Zoom platform. You can only get to those links if you are a paid subscriber. If you're a free subscriber on my Patreon, you don't qualify for that. So any kind of paid subscriptions gives you that first access of every Friday of every month, called Diamonds Days, to sit down and have a chat, sit down and have a cup of coffee and work through the very many mechanics of life. And so what I wanted to share with you, I'm not going to share my experiences, because that's my personal journey, my private soul adventure. But one of the things that I did glean from this week's ceremony was, when you have a connection, we always want to know how things start. How did the universe start? How are we here? What's the, was the Big Bang, the planet Earth? And one of the things of the guidance, which I would refer to her as grandmother, who guides me through these ceremonies, both here and here. She talked about that the plants actually taught us back in the days when we connected to nature and we worked in nature. Think about, thousands of years ago, we connected to nature on a daily basis. And it's the plants that actually taught us how to connect at an even deeper construct and perspective of receiving that universal knowledge. And the one thing that I learned from this ceremony was, they've always been. There is no start, there is no end. Now, there is a start to the planet Earth, the formation of planet Earth, and there's a start to us as incarnated beings, us that actually are born. That's a start. And then physical death, which we decarnate, which is an end to that physical journey. But your energy in your heart, who you are as a soul, always continues on and has always been. And so when I realized it was the plants that taught us, because I'm thinking, there's a lot of different concoctions out there. There's a lot of different plants. How do we know that we're getting it right? Because if you get it wrong, you could die. You could poison yourself. It's because of the education and the connection to nature and the plants that actually helped teach and guide you how to make the right concoction to, have these experiences. And for those of you that have followed my journey and know me, pre-spiritual awakening, post-spiritual awakening, you know that I've worked with a lot of different modalities, from psychic sciences to mediumship to plant medicines to different locations to different phenomenons to which I call paranormal prospecting. And I wrote about it, I podcast about it, and there's something to it. But you can only find out for yourself. You can always lead a human to knowledge, but you can't make them think, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It all becomes free will and choice based on the journey. So this morning, we're going to talk. I'm just going to be on for a little bit, and then a new episode over on my YouTube channel will be premiering here in a couple hours at noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are off the air this week. We will be back next Wednesday with another show. This week we had a really awesome guest. If you want to catch the podcast, it's called Inspired Living. You can get it wherever you get your favorite podcasts, including Audible and Alexa. Just say, Alexa, open up Inspired Living podcast, and that will play the latest episode of a wonderful guest that we came on talking about. You don't always have to be, brilliant and perfect every day. And a reminder that we are human, and we often fail. And remember that fail is first attempt in learning. So no show this upcoming week, but if you want to catch the encore shows, those are streaming also through my YouTube channel. If you're a subscriber, you'll get a notification through the subscribing channels, and of course through Om Times Media. I believe we are going to be, I talked with my producer yesterday, and I believe we're going to be moving our format to more of a video-based versus audio, because the podcast for the last 10 seasons have all been audio-based, so you don't actually get to see us in the studio talking and conversing and chatting. So there'll be more to come on that as we get closer into the fall. It's the summer, so I take a lot of time off through the summer now to write and to prepare for the fall, which is my favorite season. There will be for you subscribers or those that are interested, there's going to be some sessions coming up called Experience the Etheric to understand how to connect and commune with what is seen and what is unseen. And you know that if you follow my journey, I always say there's 3 eyes in life: 2 to look, 1 to see. And so there will be some guidance coming up for Experience the Etheric. Most likely, I'm looking at Mondays in the fall. So if that's something you're interested in, get on my newsletter, Soul Adventures. Again, everything is right here at marclainhart.com. And the focus will be working with the etheric is what is unseen. That's the spiritual world. Some of you may refer to it as heaven, the afterlife, Summerland. There's a lot of different labels for it, but just teaching people how to become aware. Now as specifically as an accredited medium, with 3.5 years working on my accreditation through the Spiritual National Union to become an understanding guide and teacher for the etheric. Now, just because I'm a guide and teacher doesn't mean I know everything. In fact, the people that claim to know everything know nothing at all. So I'm still, an infant and child, still learning and growing and healing and transforming and ascending. But that might be something that you're interested in. Of course, I have my Conscious Wellness Expo in October. That's on my events page, and there'll be some other cool things coming up as we progress into 2026. Hell of a week. A lot of famous people have passed. I'm sure you've seen it through your social media alerts. I don't need to remind you, but it's always the reminder that things come in threes. Big things usually happen in the power of 3, and that's something I had learned even long before my spiritual days. I would see 3 as a first responder. We would see 3 events: 3 fires, 3 car accidents, 3 deaths, 3 3 of everything, and be like, that is so interesting. Why do they come in threes? What's that pattern, right? That matrix, that that reality show that I guess that we're living in. And so, a lot of big 3 names from Ozzy to Hulk Hogan, a couple other folks I just can't recall right now, but big things, big names that have created a stirring consciousness that brought us memories, brought us laughs, brought us maybe anger, brought us beautiful jazz music. These people that come in and influence us as influencers, when they leave this world, there's a remembrance there. Their music and their mantras and their mannerisms carry on, and that's being remembered by history. And so I wasn't surprised when the first death was announced, and I said there'll probably be a couple more, and sure enough, within the week there was. And but it is the power of three. It's a rule of three, and there's just it's part of the fractals of being awakened. And when we're in that awakened process, there's some redefining who you are. And so, it's important, like I said, and I'll share a picture here in just a second so you can kind of have the visual perspective of, actually, I'll just go ahead and chat, and I can kind of go to a smaller window. But, I always like to talk about, with the work I do, as finding the diamond within and finding the many hidden gems all around us. Now, let's see if I can do this. See if I can get this right here with Zoom. Send with effect. Okay, so let's get those diamonds rolling. So diamonds are created under extreme pressures, right? And before the concept of the intuitive prospector, I believe everybody has intuition. It's what you want to do with it, what you want to prospect for in life, free will and choice. And, finding that diamond within, which again is created under extreme pressures in the darkness. And when you start to reveal that diamond, you also become aware of the many hidden gems that are all around us, both seen and unseen. And, when you go through this awakening process, see if I can get the picture here to come up and kind of give you that illustration, if you will. And then I'll kind of just walk you through what it is that I'm talking about, and maybe this will help. But it gets to the point where you have this purge, and the purge is not fun. Okay, the purge is not a anytime you've been sick, or you find yourself in the bathroom, these are forms of purging. And you can see from the illustration, this is an illustrated guide to a spiritual awakening. Like I said, our three states of consciousness: sleep, or awaken, sleep, and dream. And then we also, when we sleep, we wake up and we have that suffering. Just being born into the physical journey is a suffering experience. And then as we go through our sufferings and we reflect on who we are, that's where we start to grow. That's where we start to extend, expand, evolve, transform. There's many different words for it. But then you can see down here, as we purge in this aspect right here, this is focused on the pineal gland. And it's the pineal gland that regulates our melatonin in our brain. It's at the center of the brain. It uses the second most blood flow from the heart off the aorta. It's also one of the most attacked glands in the body, which has always been interesting to me. It's always interesting to me, why do we need sleep, right? Like recharging a battery, which shows us that we are batteries, right? We are all energy and frequency and vibration. But what happens is the purge within the pineal gland also contains DMT. And the DMT can also be found naturally in all of us. Some can really access that, especially women that are pregnant can access that DMT. But also that's where the plant medicines can come in to help you, whether it's psilocybin, whether it's ayahuasca, whether it's peyote, even cannabis. These can help open up and, purify the pineal gland, because it's always attacked. And again, we call it the third eye right here, because if you look, where it's located in the brain, it comes out right here of your third eye, which is also called the brow chakra from ancient traditions past. But what it also does is it goes up to your crown chakra, which is here, and then it goes directly down your spine, down to the soles of your feet, right? We call it the soles of your feet. And it's through this process of working with the plant medicines. And again, the purge is not a fun experience. When I first started this journey, like I said, a while ago, I did not want to purge. I was actually quite scared of the purge, and throwing up in front of other people, or just not feeling good, or crying, or yawning, or this last ceremony, I yawned so hard, which is an energetic form of purging. Ooh. I actually thought I dislocated my jaw because my jaw popped. It was like a release and a purge. So there's many different aspects from the upper body. Anywhere there's a hole, you can purge. I'm just trying to keeping it, professional and clean. But anywhere there's a hole can reflect a purge. But from the purge, it's the body's way, it's the spirit's way, it's the plant medicine's way of getting rid of what we think we can get rid of on our own, and we can't. need assistance, whether you want to call those your angels, your extra dimensional beings, your ascended masters, your spiritual entourage, those on the other side, whatever you want to refer to it, God, grandmother, grandfather, Mother Earth. There's a lot of variances, a lot of differences. And we think we can do it on our own, but we do need help. And, myself included, and it is now I look forward to the purge because I know that I'm releasing pain. I know that I'm releasing past. I know that I'm releasing pure grievings or pure sadness, right? And when you're in ceremony, you have people you don't know, and we hold container for everybody. And when you hear other people purging, you realize that's somebody else's pain being released. The purge releases the pain. And then, of course, you start to awaken. And that's where you go from this. You can look at the person's face like, this isn't great, but then look at afterwards, the awakening process, and that third eye is resonating. Your auric field is resonating. You are resonating. Your perspective has changed. You have changed. Your vibration has changed. The cells of who you are have changed. And if you followed my journey, you've seen me visually change over the last 2.5 years. Ever since I started to have major surgeries and major weight loss and career change, and holding space for others in my family and my wife, and that is the transformation. That is what needs to happen if you really want to have a spiritual awakening. So this again is just an illustrated guide. I would give credit where credit's due, but I don't know who did this. It's not my work, but I didn't see any branding on it, so I thought it'd be okay to share this. But again, this is helpful to know that you are awakened. You will go to sleep, you will dream, and then you wake up and you go through the process all over again. So from sleep to suffering to reflecting to growing to the purge, whatever that purge is, but you have to decide that, and then the awakening process for the journey. So a couple things on the purge, the importance of the purge. Let me just get over to the Facebook page so I can say hi to y'all, give you some shout outs. So give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. So got a couple of you. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Hayat. Hi, Wendy. Good to see you. Happy Friday. Nice to see you as well. Hi, Lou. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Kira. Happy to connect with you as well. So thanks for tuning in. Some of you are joining us. A lot of people catch the replays, which is fine. You can catch the replay on my page or over on my YouTube channel. It's fine. But I do try to be here on Fridays if I'm not traveling or doing something. Like I said, I wasn't here last Friday because I was actually connected to nature and connected to me. And I teach on and I write about and I podcast about. You need to take the time to disconnect so you can make that time to reconnect and feel. Purging is also emptying a space so you can fill the space with new energy. But a body purge is it's often associated with the use of natural plant medicines. And like I said, I've worked with plant medicines now for some time, such as ethogens, ayahuasca, psilocybin. There's even manufactured from ketamine to a few other things. I haven't really worked with those. I found my calling, what I like to work with. But what happens when you go through the purge, and again, the purge will lead you to the spiritual awakening. And you go through a physical cleansing, And like I said, even up until this morning, and it's been a week now, but that medicine can stay within you. And we call it integration, working with the plant medicines to heal. But that physical cleansing, the purging can help eliminate toxins and impurifies impurities from the body. Many believe, including myself, who has been a witness to it, that a clean physical state enhances the effectiveness of the plant medicine. And again, I had to prepare before the plant medicine, even 10 days before, 3 days before, 3 days after, an integration for the next 6 weeks. And the physical, it's allowing for that deeper experience. And I've worked with the plants for many times now, and I still learn something new. I still get humbled, and I still get healed from the experience and go deeper down that rabbit hole. It's kind of like the Alice in Wonderland analogy, when Alice was asked the caterpillar, how far does the rabbit hole go? And he said, it's all about up to you. It depends on how far you want to take it. And so that physical cleansing is very, very beneficial. And maybe you're having a spiritual awakening yourself and going through the balance of the good days and the bad days. And I always just say, take it one day at a time, offer yourself a lot of grace. We teach on in my group and my students, and what I write about is, trust the process. The way knows the way. It's usually us getting in the way that causes the suffering, right? And even when you're in the plant medicines, once you're in that plant medicine, it's a surrender. You can't get out of it. You're in it for hours. And, we were going until 4 o'clock in the morning, start at 6:30 and go till 4 o'clock in the morning, singing, drumming, chanting ikiros, purging. But at the same time, that physical cleansing is needed for the journey, because life is just so beautiful but chaotic, and there's a lot going on in our world right now. Like I said, there was, if you follow my journey or my podcast, I've talked about this, that we were going to enter the roaring 20s of transformation, that history will look back at this and we'll see this as a tipping point for the world, for consciousness, for human beings, for technology, for artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, extra dimensional beings. And again, I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, and even though I'm spilling the tea, I always remind people, some people come to me to work with me for consulting or prospecting or guidance, and other people call me batshit crazy, and that's okay. That's stepping into who you are and being your authentic self. So the physical cleanse, the emotional release that can happen from this. I know that I've experienced this, but the process of purging can serve as not only a powerful emotional release. It allows us as individuals to confront and let go of suppressed emotions, traumas, or negative energies that have been hindering our personal growth. I know even this ceremony, each ceremony is different, but just letting go of my past and traumas and tragedies and family dynamics and things that were done to us that we could not control, and then we stay within those habits, and then we're creatures of habit. So that awareness to it and release of that emotional cleansing and the physical cleansing can really be transformative and help you move on to your next step, whatever that is for you on your journey. The preparation for the spiritual journey. When I started down this, my teachers, my mentors always say, be careful what you ask for, because it is not a straight linear path. We always talk about the spiral. We always talk about having your compass, but knowing that the spiritual path is not a straight path. It's the spiral path. And again, what we resist persists. The lesson repeats until it completes, until finally we reach enlightenment. But even Buddha, talked about, when you reach enlightenment, you still got to tend the garden, water the flowers, clean the toilet. There's still that enlightenment. But what happens when you prepare for a spiritual journey and having that purge, it's often seen as a rite of passage that prepares us, our mind, our spirit, our energy of who we are for the journey ahead. And like I said, I've worked with the plant medicine several times now. And each time there's always something new to be learned, to be gleaned, to be downloaded. And this time, I was wrapped in a shawl. That's why I'm wearing my shawl today, because I was actually invited to sit within the circle of ascended masters with grandmother, with grandfather, and to be able to understand, even as a child, even as an infant learning to crawl, that, it's the preparation for the spiritual journey. And like I said, I've been on the spiritual journey for almost 2 decades now. And, getting to a point in time where, it creates a sense of serenity. It creates a sense of vulnerability. It creates a sense of humility. It creates a sense of transparency. Of openness, of making us as participants of life more receptive to insights and perspectives and lessons during our experiences, which I always call soul adventures. And, the connection to nature, if anything I can refer to you or recommend to you, is to connect back to nature. Our first home, the original Wi-Fi, is nature. And I believe a lot of what we see today is because we're more connected than in the history of the world with our technology, but we're more disconnected as a species, as peer-to-peer, than we've ever been. And when you return to nature, the act of purging can foster not only that deeper connection, if you will, to the natural world and the plant itself, but it symbolizes a return to earth. You may have heard the term from dust to dust, ashes to ashes. We came from the earth, so shall we return. And what it does is it reinforces the idea of transformation and revival and renewal. Again, what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the butterfly calls a whole new world, right? But you have to choose to do that. You have to put in the work. I can lead you to the door, just like in the Matrix. I can be Morpheus, you're Neo, but Neo, you need to walk through that door. No one can make you, because it's your surrender, it's your acceptance, it's your awareness to what is bigger than yourself. And sometimes there's a few times I felt like I was dying, like death itself. But what it does is it also develops a new way of being. Again, we're human beings, not human doings, and we do a lot without being. And what it does is that mind connection point, that mind connection renewal through the purge can engage and enhance the awareness of the mind, body, spirit connection, helping all of us as participants in life. And I always say life is an acronym. Learn it from experience. Learn it from experience. And what that does is it will help us to understand, as participants in this school of life, in this game of life, to understand how we have many different bodies. We have a physical body. We have an emotional body. We have a mental body. We have our energetic body. We have our etheric body, the soul. We have our, what I teach on is the PEMS, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the material, and the spiritual, right? So if you want to try to remember who you are, I always use acronyms, but just former life, first responder, emergency medicine, sports medicine. We used acronyms a lot because it helped us to remember, and especially for me. And so the PEMS, PEMMS, is something I teach on, write about, podcast about: physical, emotional, mental, material, because the material world has a direct impact on you as an individual in the participant life. And of course, the spiritual, if you believe in that. And if you don't, you're still welcome to listen in and participate in the community as an intuitive prospector. But what it does is the overall effect of this awareness can lead to healing, can lead to holistic healing, right? You're using something natural that's been around on the planet for thousands of years, used by cultures for thousands and thousands of years. It's nothing new, but why don't they want us to know that? Why don't they want us to become aware of that? Why don't they want us to use that? Again, in a former life working in the healthcare system, we have a health sick system. We need sick people because it's a for-profit system. And if people start getting cured and taking care of themselves, knowing there was even a study at Harvard years ago in 2019 that 85% of our own diseases, which is disease with the body, the mind, is created by ourselves. Now there's that 15% that is environmental, the habits that we do, that we take into our bodies, of course. But 85%, right, is based on the mind. And if you have a bunch of healthy people living in society, contributing to society, making society better, making the planet better, making us as humans better, then you don't have a for-profit system and you can't make money, right? Again, money is the biggest driver, from the big pharmaceuticals to the lobbyists that, that influence both sides of the political spectrum, right? They always say the left wing and the right wing, but people say, well, why do they call them wings? Because they're connected to one bird, right? So I don't do politics, but it's just, it's a circus. And if you become aware of that and you start to realize in the magic, with a K, not with a C, I'm not pulling a rabbit out of the hat here, then you start to see the illusion for what it is. And the plant medicine has helped me see that, to lift the eyes. Again, 3 eyes in life, 2 to look, 1 to see. So be the magic, not the illusion, is what I would say. That would be my recommendation for today's show. I think the last thing from just that mind, body, spirit connection, that when I first started down this journey 2 decades ago, was one of the first tattoos I had was, I'm a Taurus, so I had the tribal bull on my back, and underneath it, because I love I love languages. I love Spanish. I love Italian. I'm actually learning Portuguese right now because we're going to be going to Portugal soon. And I actually have my tattoo as corpo, mente, spirito, which means mind, body, spirit, when I first started my journey, and that's in Italian, right? But what it does is that awareness is the greatest agent for change. Eckhart Tolle talks and teaches about this all the time. And I didn't understand it when I first heard it, just like I didn't understand or have the patience for trust the process, the way knows the way. It's like, no, I want it right now. I'm like a child. I want this. I'm this 2-year-old child that wants everything right now. And it doesn't work that way. But what happens is that the awareness of who you are becomes significant and very transformative. But there's also a cultural significance to this. And in the purging aspect, and again, when I first started this, I didn't want to purge. I asked people about it. And I remember one young lady, I asked her how many times she'd worked with plant medicine. Some people know, some don't. She told me specifically, I've worked with plant medicines for 95 times. I'm like, holy shit, seriously? Like, wow. And I go, but what about the purge? And she goes, you'll get past that. You will actually start to anticipate and want the purge, because the purge is purification. The purge is healing and transformation. And again, the cultural significance of this. Again, this isn't Marc's new age medicine. Man, this is cultural that I've, as a white-bodied male, that I've been invited to participate to and be aware of, and very humbled and grateful and respectful of the culture, of the container, of the people, of the medicina. And the cultural significance is in many indigenous cultures. Purging is an integral part of the ritual surrounding plant medicine use. And it's often viewed as necessarily to help step in the journey of healing and transformation, adhering to traditional practices that have been passed down through generations. Again, some of you may be looking at this and go, oh, look at this hippie going out in the rainforest to get high and dance naked around a fire. No, it's not that at all. Yeah, even my own understanding when I first started, it's much deeper. It's much more ancient. It's much more satisfying than I ever thought it would be. So, overall, the experience of purging to have the spiritual awakening can be both challenging and cathartic, to be honest with you. But if you want to heal yourself, the only way out is through. And many times through our breath work, through our mind chatter, the monkeys in our mind, the only way out is through. And even when you're on the medicine, you're like, I don't want this. Your ego, you become very aware of your ego, and you're like, I don't want to get it. I don't want this. I don't want this. I feel like I'm dying. You're on this road. I always describe it on this road. On one side is chaos, and one side is bliss and enlightenment. And you know where you want to go with this, but you have to also tell yourself the only way out is through, to do the work, because the spiritual path isn't kitty cats and cupcakes and rainbows and yeehaws. A lot of it is the breaking down, just like the caterpillar literally in its metamorphosis gets turned into a liquid protein of goo in a sack. And that's where you have to get to. You got to get to that liquid protein goo of a sack, to where you re-metamorphose into the beautiful butterfly. And then the butterfly struggles intensely to get out of the cocoon so it can go have a new adventure. But it's the struggle within the cocoon that sharpens the wings, that allows the wings to give it the strength to take flight. So I'm not saying that this is an easy process, but it's a necessary one if you want to have a spiritual awakening. And again, I found that my healing, my ascension, my transformation, my makeover, from my surgeries to my 75 pounds of weight loss to my new career and my retirement from my old life, that is transformational process. And even I didn't know it would take me as deep or as dark, but also light of the duality of who I am, right? We're physical beings, but many times we forget that we're energetic, spiritual beings having a human experience. And so, it's the purge is just a natural process associated working with plant medicines. But if you want to get over that hump, if you want to get off that plateau, if you really truly want to ascend and evolve and transform, then maybe start to be open to more things that are of the natural world, versus pharmaceuticals and man-made products, from alcohol to prescription pills, because again, those are all money-based. Plant medicines don't ask for anything, and yet they're there, and they're always talking to us and guiding us and educating us. Again, I always say nature is the greatest teacher, the greatest engineer, the greatest inspirer, the greatest lesson maker too, right? Mother Earth is the landlord, and we as humans are just tenants here. right? And she can evict anytime she wants. And so remember that, that, life can change on a dime, and just like I've experienced. But I just wanted to share that with you. Um, you know, again, there's psychological effects to this. There's a detoxification process that can take place from this. But there's both emotional and psychological aspects that I've experienced myself. The act of purging can lead to, like I said, the emotional catharsis, allowing us to release pent up feelings and fears and anxieties. And for me, PTSD, as a former retired first responder, always being called other people's traumas and tragedies, not ever working on myself. Facing your own demons, if you will. The experience can bring forth what I found to be a deep-seated issue for my past, from the loss of my brothers, to family dynamics, to things when I was really, really little, that I don't talk about publicly. But we can find that confronting these aspects during the purge can lead us to the breakthrough. The breakdown leads to the breakthrough, right, of the healing journey. Community and support, I offer community and support container. I've got a great spiritual development tribe that helped me through it. We help each other through it. Of course, my church that I belong to now, that works with the plant medicines, great people holding container, very loving, very supporting, unity through community, as I always like to talk about. But just having that, strangers support you in your purge was very eye-opening, by people I've never met before. But also the ritual and the traditions of honoring plant medicina, putting ceremonies together to hold, not just doing it free willy, making it that communal ritual to reinforce the bonds among us as participants in life, those of us among the participants of plant medicine. But it also honors ancient wisdom surrounding plant medicine use and the purge. There's a post-purge, reflection. After the physical purging, we're encouraged to reflect on our experiences, which is always very mindful and insightful. The integrational process is a crucial part of, I'm in integration now, making sense of the insights that we gained, the downloads, the connections to the ceremony, grandmother, grandfather, nature, the white wolf that I got to see for the first time during the journey, and applying them to everyday life. And how can I take that and the behavioral changes, right? Many of us find that the insights that we've gained during the purge lead to a lasting change in our behavior, on our habits and our perspectives and our lifestyles, supporting the ongoing healing and growth of who we are as human beings. There's physical discomfort. I'm not going to glamorize this. There's already so much fake out in the world. So work on being your authentic self in the real. As Ram Dass always talked about, the more real we get with ourselves, the more unreal the world around us gets. And I feel like that's where I'm at in this moment. But it can be physically uncomfortable and emotionally challenging, from the purge. But it gives you the new aspect. It gives you an important aspect of having the support available to work through that. And not everyone may experience a purge. One of the gentlemen I sat with, he was yet to purge, and we've sat together a few times. And he's like, "Yeah, I've yet to purge." And I'm like, "Well, okay, I'm not. That's your journey, and no judgment here. And I just know that I'm working on healing. Maybe he's just not ready to heal yet, right? At some point, he will purge, and he knows that. But at the same time, it doesn't diminish the effectiveness. I don't want you to be caught up in the purge, like, oh my God, I'm going to purge. I don't want it to diminish the effectiveness of the plant medicine, because each individual's journey is unique, just like you're unique. 8.3 billion people on the planet, only one you. I talk about that. That's my opening of my radio show, Inspired Living. And, and the process can vary greatly. So just have that in mind too. I'll plant that seed. But just to kind of wrap up as we kind of close here, in summary, I found that the body purge, working with plant medicines, is a crucial component of the transformative, ascending, healing experience that often associates and is accompanied with natural plant medicines. I find that it facilitates not only the physical detoxification of what we've gone through, but also the emotional and the spiritual healing and connection to nature. Again, our first home, our first original Wi-Fi is nature, and fostering that holistic approach to personal growth and to personal learning and education. So I hope that helps. If not, just put it as a tool in the toolbox or a book in the library of life, and maybe you'll come back to this at a different time. That's okay too. That's why we're here on Fridays. That's why it's called Metaphysical Meetup with Marc Live, to prospect for the many things that we just don't know. Humans claim to know it all. We don't. Science even tells us we've only confirmed about 4% of science based on mathematics, based on equations that support the outcome of the scientific method. That means that's 96%. We have no idea what the hell we're doing, right? So let me go back to the page real quick. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that message today. Let me just give some more shout outs to my crew, to my team. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for keeping the comments. Thank you to my administrators for keeping the comments. Just if you get something, somebody at any time, wants you to go to their page to get a more accurate reading or something, just know that that's not us. We don't do any cold spam stuff. If you want to be a participant in this, you're here because you want to, the free will and choice. So, but we sometimes with trolls and just, very negative people, just want to see the world burn, unfortunately. But I don't. I want to, my tagline is, you are the inspired and the inspiration. So let's be inspired, let's inspire others, and let's inspire before we expire, because we're all going to expire, just like some of the big names that made their transition, over to spirit. So let me, this week. Okay, so let's see here, jump into the show. Hi, Zara. Hi, Jane. Adriana, good to see you, my friend. How y'all doing? All right. So if you have any questions for me, I'll do a quick Q&A. Just remember, I'll do 10 minutes, about 8 minutes or so of Q&A if you want to ask me something. I'm not going to open up the Zoom room because I'll be doing that next week for Diamonds Days. Again, if you want to be more active with me, become a subscriber. You can get all the information here at marclainhart.com. Internet search the Intuitive Prospector or my name, Marc Lainhart. I will come up. And from there, you can get on the Diamond subscriber, which is less than a cup of coffee a month, and my Patreon prospectors, which there's a variance of memberships, but it gives you different access points from the latest newsletter, articles, podcasts, guidance, inspirational writings, shows. And then next Friday, the first Friday of every month, is dedicated just to my subscribers. So it's another reason to subscribe to the Diamonds Hub or the Patreon prospectors, because every Friday there's a morning session at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and a 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Zoom link that you can come in and have a conversation. And why, if there's a lot of people, I'll just let I'll broadcast in the chat room. Please be patient. I'll get to you. Sometimes it's just a 5-minute conversation. Sometimes it's a 10-minute conversation. But it's my way of directly giving back to you as my subscriber and dedicating a day, the first Friday, which I will be traveling, but I'm bringing my laptop, so I'll be able to set that up for the show. And then Diamonds Day, which is going to be in August. Can you guys believe that? We're already moving into August. I don't know where this year has gone, but I just want to say thank you for hanging out. Good morning to Dana. Good morning to Aaron. Good morning. Hi, Amanda. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. So I'll open up just Q&A. If you have a question about today's topic, again, the purge, plant medicine, just understanding the journey of healing and transformation, fire one into the comment section and I can answer you. Hi, Zeb. Thanks for being here. Again, my next show is going to broadcast over my YouTube channel. So if you haven't joined the 41,000 prospectors in search of your own diamond and gems and gold, go over and hit that subscribe button over on my YouTube channel. And my next show will be dropping at noon. And I hope you enjoy that too, because there's a powerful message there. Hi, Maria. All right. Any questions for me that I can answer before I sign off this morning? I've got a lovely protein shake waiting for me. It's been calling to me. Protein shakes calling to me. Again, even my diet has changed from the plant medicine. A plate of apples with some peanut butter. They're just sitting off camera because I'm like, I'm really hungry. So any questions or anything you want me to look at real quick? I can even draw a quick card for you if you want. I'm happy to do that. I'm usually looking for my subscribers first and my followers. You usually have a badge next to your name. So let's see, my neighbor's calling. Okay, I heard it in the sound. So any questions for me? Anything I can help you with today? Anything you're going through you want to share? Again, I'm not doing the phone calls anymore. I'm not opening the Zoom room. That's for my subscribers now. So, and I hope you subscribe. Or if you want to, get on a visitor's pass for my spiritual development tribe. Check it out. SDG, the tribe, spiritual development. It's all about spiritual development. We cover many aspects. Wednesday was fun because we did the summer celebration. So we did a lot of chanting and drumming and dancing and breathing and exhaling and oming, you know, so lots and lots of fun. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions come in. Adriana, can I have a color card reading? You bet. Let's go to colors real quick. You know the drill. Take a deep breath in. When you hear the word stop in your mind, say it out loud. And you'll see that Adriana has followed me for a couple years now. You can see she has a badge next to her name. That's what you want to do. That's what I'm looking for. If you're a first timer, welcome. Nice to meet you. Let me know where you're coming in from because we have an international audience from all around the world. So Adriana, when you hear the word stop, type that in, hit enter, and that's the card I'll pull for you as I'm shuffling through. Working with colors. Jane, I'd love a card of your choice, please. Okay, Jane, you're on deck. Adriana, type in stop when you're ready, love. Stop. Brilliant. Brilliant. You got this down. Hey, look at this. Exactly what I was just talking about. Plant medicines. You got to love the synchronicities or coincidences, which I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Even Einstein talked about synchronicities and coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. So you pulled the green card, which is all about the color of the heart. And look at that, plant medicine, the plant reaching out a hand. I've even got my little, you can kind of see him, but this is one of the plants that sits off camera, but I brought him into today's show because when I started this was just a seedling. And now, let's see here. And now, Adriana, let's see here. He's gone from a full, just a little seedling when I first planted him 2.5 years ago. This is one of the plants I planted when I started my plant medicine. You picked the color green, right? And look at how he's grown into almost like a bean. Like look at these little arms, right? Isn't that just brilliant? And it's just like, hey, you know, but the card itself for you is not only the matters of the heart and the color green and the plant medicine that I was talking about, but it's talking about revitalizing your nervous system. And the numbers associated with this is a 3 and a 1. The 3 means creative expressive in numerology. The 1 means independence in numerology. The 3 plus 1 equals 4, which is all about the work you put in is what you're going to get out. If you don't put anything in for transformation and change, you're not going to get anything out. But so this is called, his name is Little Zen. And outside, I've got a big tree called Big Zen. So he sits right below Big Zen. This is Little Zen. But isn't that kind of cool? Like if I just move him, it's almost what it reminds me of. For those of you seen Guardians of the Galaxy, this is like the sprouting of I am Groot, right? I am Groot. But he started as just a little seedling down here, and over 2.5 years, this is what he's become with little hands, waving and dancing. Pretty cool, huh? And we're even getting some sprouting going on down here, getting some hair coming down. So my guy down here will look like he's growing hair. But does that card make sense for you? Brilliant card, great timing actually. So I'm just gonna put him right off camera here so we can. There we go. All right. Let's see. I love plants. Is that a succulent? It is. And again, I grew him from just a seedling. He was about a little bit smaller than this size right here. And then I got him all over my house. And I always tell people, if you can't get out into nature, bring nature into you. And this is one of the things that I do is bring plants in and around me and get out in nature, because now that I physically can after my 4 major surgeries last year. 4 surgeries is a lot, y'all. And I probably have 1 more to go. So, but I was able to get out, camp, hike, connect, really just appreciate the beauty of nature. So, and I hopefully get back to my Forest Fridays. That's another thing. If you're a subscriber and you're here local through my meetup group, trying to get back to Forest Fridays, where we go hiking and get out in nature. We used to do that waterfalls all the time. Even did a cool tunnel, an old railway tunnel up here just north or just east of me that had this really reverberation sound quality that I could do a sound bath in and stuff. And I'm doing sound baths now. So you all know that I offer sound healing here in my studio and online. If you need some sound therapy, we can offer that to you during Diamonds Days. If you need a little bit of sound bath healing, that, you know, I think I've got Zoom figured out to where you can understand and hear the music just like this. Does that sound okay? All right, just turned off. So we have music that we can change for musicians to on and off. And so I can play my guitar, I can drum, I can play my finger piano if I want. This is my finger piano. It's just a, here, I'll give you, let me turn it one time. Can somebody let me know if this works? Is that coming through? Should be. Now you should hear my voice better. Okay. So, Jane, you want me to pick? Actually, no, Jane, I want you to pick. I want you to pick your insight. So give me 1 through 14. I got 14 decks. Give me 1 through 14, and then I'll wrap up. 1 through 14, please, Jane. Coming in all the way from the beautiful country of Wales. Which deck would you like, hon? 1 through 14. You got it. Well, brilliant choice, because here's a 14th deck, Flower Sentience, talking about plants today, so great connection. You know the drill. Take a deep breath in, set your intentions. When you hear the word stop, say it out loud. That's the card that I'll pick for you. A nice deep breath, working with the Flower Sentience decks. Stop. Perfect. All right. So last card. Y'all think I should try this over on TikTok? I've been trying, but I haven't just had the time. But maybe I'll take it to anybody on TikTok. You want to follow me on TikTok, the Intuitive Prospector, maybe do some live shows over there. So this is called the mistletoe, Jane. And the mistletoe has the numerology of 2, which is 2 in numerology is just the energy of being in peace with what is and what's going on. But the mistletoe is been considered a sacred plant within Europe folklore, which assists in surrounding difficulties. So the mistletoe, according to the ancients, it bestows life and fertility and protects against any form of poison. Oak mistletoe is considered especially sacred as the soul of the oak, and that it could extinguish fire when needed to do so. The former retired first responder, I did not know that. Interesting. I know that the oak leaves are used to detoxify, like in a sauna, I've had that done before, or in a what do you call it? The rituals where you sit in the saunas. What am I trying to say? Can't think of it. More coffee, I guess. But it says kissing and affection came from the Greek culture and were thought to bring fertility and life-giving power. It is also considered a plant of peace, connected with the declaration of a truce, used to signify a meeting place where no violence can take place. The mistletoe. So brilliant. I always, know it for Christmas, hanging above the door and you kiss somebody. But yeah, I learn something new every day. But be at peace with what is, and go to the mistletoe if you need to. Do they have that over in? They have that flower over in Wales, Jane? Hi, Kelly. Good to see you, my friend. Hi, Connie. Good to be here. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all hanging out. If you have any more questions, again, next Friday will be Subscribers Day, Diamonds Day. So make sure to get on the subscribers list. Again, you can go to marclainhart.com. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. We were just talking about, plant medicines and the power of purging, which isn't always fun, but the purging leads to the spiritual awakening. So I was trying to do some effects here. Plants, no. Well, we'll go with trees. That can work. All right, y'all. Makes sense. Thank you. Yes, we have that. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Like I said, I learn something new every day. That's why I love writing, podcasting these shows, because I get to commune, I get to connect, I get to learn, I get to grow. So I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy your summer. Let's take us out with a, let's see here. Let's cue this up here. See if we can open this song to kind of wrap up today. Okay, so what we want to do is we always want to send a little love on to our fellow human beings, society, the world. We need it more than ever, and to hold space for others during difficult times. Again, if you want to learn more about me, you can go to marclainhart.com, internet search the Intuitive Prospector. My podcast is Inspired Living. You can get that wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Great show last week, so I hope you check that out. And then we'll be back next Friday I'll be in a new location, but I'll try to, if I don't come on, it's because the technology didn't work or I wasn't able to get connected. But right now we'll plant the seeds for intention to be on next Friday. And then I'll, of course, work with you as subscribers in Diamonds Days. So until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Most importantly, wherever you're at, whatever's going on, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. We'll see you next time here on Metaphysical Meetup with Marc Live. Have a great rest of your day, weekend, next week. Until we meet again, namaste, namago. Take care, everybody.
I just hope you like it. It's always good to know that you've been by to send a little smile. Even if I'm gone, you know it won't be long. I'll see the love and send it on. Even though we may be far away, I still know how you're doing. 'Cause you share all the laughter, joy, and pain. So I can, stand a little lap on through, stand a little lap on, let you know I'm thinking about you, let you know. Stand a little lap on through, stand a little lap on, let you know I'm here for you, let you know. Since I read the writing on your wall, I'm thinking that it's time I take a look around, and I know I like it. Even though we may be far away, I still know how you're doing. 'Cause you share all the laughter, joy, and pain. So I can, stand a little lap on through, stand a little lap on, let you know I'm thinking about you, let you know. Stand a little lap on
One
through,
planet,
stand a little
7.3
lap on,
billion
let
people,
you know I'm
only
here
1
for
year.
you, let you
Life
know.
offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.